Alright, so we are officially in that time of year where it is award season because with the Golden Globes nominations that were just announced this morning, and I gotta tell you, with these nominations, and that has gotten people like mad or like somehow like in like a cheering mood, in which of these nominations like will win a Golden Globe, especially from Best Performance, Animated Film, and even Best Picture, and especially as we're heading into next year, 2025, and it's going to be massive when it comes to the end of the year. And so I'm going to be breaking down all of the nominations for this year's Golden Globes, to talk about who I think is going to win, and all that fun stuff as well. And so if you're new to that, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so I'm on any future vids. But now, let's get into the nominations now. And now, starting off here is the nominations for Best Limited or Anthology Series. And those nominations include Baby Reindeer, Disclaimer, Monsters, The Lyle and Eric, Menendez Story, The Penguin, Ripley, and True Detective Night Country. And now, especially with this list, especially with The Penguin that has been nominated for a Golden Globe Award, and I mean, I better pray that the show wins, because especially with that show that showed the underworld of Gotham and exploring the criminal side of Gotham with Oz, the Penguin, and his motive, like especially with, and there have been killer performances, especially from Colin Farrell and Kristen Melody. It was even from like the next list. It shows that with these actors that both got nominated for a Golden Globe, so it makes a ton of sense for the show to get nominated. It's one of the best things that DC has ever produced, especially coming from Matt Reeves, because coming out the heels of the Batman and exploring this spin-off world, and to see the show being nominated for award season is just music to my ears. With the next category to go over with the next set of nominees is Best Actor in a Comedy / Musical, and those nominees are Jesse Eisenberg, A Real Pain, Hugh Grant, Heretic, Gabriel LaBelle, Saturday Night, Jesse Plemons, Kinds of Kindness, Glenn Powell, Hitman, and Sebastian Stan, A Different Man. And now, especially with my thoughts on this, because I think with Glenn Powell being nominated for award season, especially with his performance in Hitman, so sort of like going through all these personalities, I enjoyed this film so damn much. But and now that the man is like a rising box office darling, because he was in Twisters, he was in Top Gun Maverick, but now especially with him like playing this Hitman with multiple personalities, and just to see him and now becoming a more serious actor, more like a rise star. Like some people are calling him like the next Tom Cruise, and I don't believe that to be true. But we'll see that down the line. Like he is a very good actor, and to see him being like nominated for an award season, especially for the Golden Globe, it makes me so happy, because I do adore this man. And even with like Gabriel LaBelle being nominated for a Saturday Night, I gotta tell you, because I think with his first movie called The Fabelmans, but even like I love his performance, especially as being the one playing Lauren Michaels, like the creator of Saturday Night Live, and what that movie was able to pull off with his performance. I guarantee you so much, because, and also on top of that, with Hugh Grant in Heretic, and I thought that based on the trailers, like I think like he's good with as well. I like Hugh Grant as an actor, because he's got that comedic humor and charm to his side. But even with Sebastian Stan being nominated for A Different Man, I adore Sebastian Stan as an actor, especially in the MCU, as he's going to be in Thunderbolts. But even with A Different Man, I think like it deserves to be a winner as well. And now, with the next set of nominees to go over is Best Actress in a TV Series, Comedy / Musical, and those nominees are Catherine Hahn, Agatha All Along, Jean Smart, Hacks, Quinta Brunson, Abbott Elementary, Selena Gomez, Only Murders in the Building, Ayo Edebiri, The Bear, and Christabel, Nobody Wants This. And now, and I'm like pretty sure that with Catherine Hahn being on this list, because even with the show Agatha All Along, it's something that I don't praise much about. I had a good time with it, especially as it fulfilled the spooky season. But especially with Catherine Hahn's performance as Agatha Harkness being back in that role, I feel like it was just fun to watch. I adored her performance, and she was every single bit into that character alone. So especially with the soundtrack, the Witch's Road. I mean, that show has become popular. I mean, if you enjoy the show, great. I respect your opinion, but for me, I like the show, but I'm not like crazy. It's like the greatest show ever. But it's like a good, decent show, and it was like the best show for the spooky season. But overall, for the entire MCU, and also with Ayo Edebiri being nominated for The Bear, and I feel like she deserved it to be like this type of person to be in like award season, because again, like she did win an Emmy for that like back in 2024 of like this year. But even with her being nominated again for a Golden Globe, it just shows a sign that like she's like an amazing actress, a true performer, especially from her performances, especially in Inside Out 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and even in The Bear, and even as she got to direct an episode, and I adore her for that, and I hope she wins as well. Next up is the nominees for Best Animated Film, and those nominees are Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. And now, with my thoughts on these nominations, I'm pretty sure that like out of all these, I think like everyone wants The Wild Robot to win, because even though I really adore that movie, because it's really heartfelt and full of emotions, it's especially as it was about friendship, and I adore that movie from DreamWorks so much, because especially for what Lupita Nyong'o delivered as Roz, like the robot, like trying to like prove like sense into the world and develop for friendship with these creatures that were paper. But it delivered such a heartfelt story. It had so much emotion. But even with Inside Out 2, it's one of Pixar's best animated sequels in like a long time, because people really adored the first movie, so it kind of makes sense. Also, for the fact that Inside Out 2, it did over $1 billion at the box office in just 3 weekends at the box office. So, and that movie was also emotional as well. Moving on to the next phase of your life and all the stuff that a teenager goes through, that was packed inside of one movie. And I really adored Inside Out 2, but I hope that The Wild Robot wins too, because of all the praise that it got, especially at like Fantastic Fest of this year. But I'm pretty sure, I mean, The Wild Robot better take home some awards here. And now, next up is the nominees for Best Actress in a Comedy/Musical, and those nominees are Zendaya, Challengers, Amy Adams, Night Bitch, Cynthia Erivo, Wicked, Colossal Sophia Cascon, Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison, Honora, and Demi Moore, The Substance. And now, especially with my thoughts on these nominees, I'm like, wow. And I'm pretty sure like Zendaya is definitely taking home this award, because we have seen her like take home awards like, I mean, like a couple of times, like, because even for when like she took home like an Emmy, something back like 4 years ago, back in 2020, when she first got her award for I think Euphoria. But I think with her performance in Challengers, it's some of the best work that I've ever seen from Zendaya based on her filmography. Plus, like, and even for what she was able to deliver with her hardcore emotions from what that movie set out to be with Challengers. It was like this love triangle story about like tennis. It had the most amazing, best score of all time, and also with Cynthia Erivo, that pulled the most amazing performance as Alphaba, aka the Wicked Witch, and Wicked, and especially with that performances and actually she was able to bring, and especially with that final musical number, like I really adore her for that as well. And so even with Wicked, that's doing like numbers at the box office, but like especially as these movies all came out in time for award season. And speaking of which, with The Substance, and this is a movie I watched previously and reviewed for the channel if you want to check that out. But even with Demi Moore, that has been nominated, and she pulls off one of the best performances I have ever seen in a horror movie with this body of horror film. And what that movie was able to deliver is unlike anything that I've ever seen. And so, but out of all these, I'm guaranteeing you, I think Zendaya is taking home the cake. But moving on to the nominees for Best Supporting Actress, and those nominees are Ariana Grande, Wicked, Zoe Saldana, Amelia Perez, Felicity Jones, the Brutalist, Selena Gomez, Amelia Perez, Margaret Qualley, The Substance, and Isabella Rosetta, Conclave. And especially with Ariana Grande being on this list and what she was able to pull off as Wicked, like her performance was amazing. Like, she was outstanding. She was so beautiful in this film, and the way that she was able to guide it all, especially being in the world of Oz, for what Wicked was able to deliver. It was like the best Broadway adaptation musical of all time, and also just with the songs that like Ariana Grande was able to bring to the big screen, and I really praise her so much for that, and especially with her like from going to being like an artist and now to being like, an actress, to being nominated for award season. And I hope she wins as well. But even Margaret Qualley and The Substance, and oh my gosh, her performance was spectacular, especially as like she was like a clone young version of Demi Moore's character, and her performance was amazing as well. I better hope that Ariana Grande wins, because she's like a great singer and great performer, especially in Wicked 2. And next is the nominees for Best Original Score, and those nominees are Conclave, Challengers, Dune Part 2, The Brutalist, and The Wild Robot. And now, my thoughts on these nominees, specifically which I want to talk about Dune Part 2 for a sec, because I think it came out recently, and that with Hans Zimmer's score for the film was not eligible for award season, especially for the Oscars, because I think with the score in that second film was kind of like a reused hash of the first movie. But I think, especially with Hans Zimmer's score, that is eligible for a nomination, especially for a Golden Globe. It kind of makes sense, but at the same time, people feel really confused and like edged on about that, especially with Challengers being a part of award season, especially of what that score was able to do. Oh my gosh, it makes the movie fast paced, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I hope that Dune Part 2 takes home awards, but let's see when we get to the Oscar nominations. And I just hope that Dune Part 2 wins, or better yet, even with Challengers the most. Next up is the nominees for Best Director, and those nominees are Quiet Edgell, Amelia Perez, Sean Baker, Nora, Edward Berger, Conclave, Brady Corbett, The Brutalist, Carolina Farget, The Substance, and All We Imagine as Light. And now, especially with all these nominations, it's going to be so tough, because especially as all these movies are really good and really praised by everyone, but with the Substance being on this list, and it's like the perfect timing for award season. I can talk about The Substance a lot, but especially with that movie and the direction of what the director wanted to accomplish with her vision, it was like really cool, and especially with The Substance, and that movie was recognized a lot. Also, I think with the biggest snub out of these nominations is Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2 not being included in this list, because even though I loved Dune Part 2, that movie was incredible, especially with the VFX and its gorgeous layout, especially with the hard work that these people put through, especially with Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya and all the great performances. But it deserves to be a part of award season. Next up is the category of Best Drama Series, and those nominees are The Day of the Jackal, The Diplomat, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Shogun, Slow Horses, and Squid Game. Now, with my thoughts on this now, like especially with Squid Game being on this list, and season 2 has not even come out yet. It comes out December 26th. But even with Squid Game, I mean, it was a phenomenon, and it was praised by so many people when it premiered back in 2021. That was like 3 years ago. But I mean, Squid Game it definitely has no shot of being on this list. But even though I love the show so much, I can't wait for season 2. I'm interested in it or not. But even with Shogun being on this list, I mean, for what that show, I think it is pretty good. And I think like with one of the people behind the scenes of that show is going to be working on the upcoming second season of Peacemaker, and that's how great the show actually is, because I think it had like a good score and just like good stuff. But I think Shogun being on this list is definitely deserved, and I hope it wins too. Next up is the category for Best Picture in a Drama, and those nominees are The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2 and Nickel Boys in September 5th. And now for my thoughts on this list, especially as a complete unknown is on this list, and even though it comes out on Christmas Day, December 25th of this year, 2024, and even though people have already seen the film, it's Timothée Chalamet's best performances, mainly career-wise, and that movie is expected to rack up award season, because especially with that movie releasing in the period and the season of, especially award season, of course, definitely deserves to be on there. But even with Dune Part 2, I mean, I love that movie. I thought it was incredible. It was a step up because it was able to add more to the story than what the first movie brought, especially from Denis Villeneuve's vision, and how like a great score and great direction. Plus, we're getting Dune Messiah, but it's especially out of everything. And I hope Dune Part 2 takes home some awards. Also, I hope that other shows, other movies, I hope they win too. The next category to go over is Best Actor in a Drama Film, and those nominees are Adrian Brody, The Brutalist; Timothée Chalamet, A Complete Unknown; Daniel Craig, Queer; Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing; Ralph Fiennes, Conclave; and Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. And wow, oh boy, like especially with this list alone, and I hope that Timothée Chalamet takes home like an award, especially as he's entering award season with his film being nominated as, this is like a biopic about Bob Dylan, A Complete Unknown. But even with Sebastian Stan, and because with The Apprentice, and things like people say that The Apprentice was solid, but even with Timothée Chalamet, I hope that he takes home an award, because I can't wait to see A Complete Unknown. I have not seen it yet, but I mean I just hope it delivers good, and people say it's one of Timothée Chalamet's best performances, but we'll see about that. But I hope that Timothée Chalamet takes home an award, because he is becoming a big star, like a rising up, especially being in Wonka, Dune Part 2, and now A Complete Unknown, and I think it's a better shot for Chalamet. And now, what the next category to go over is Best Cinematic and Box Office Achievement, and those nominees are Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2, and Gladiator 2, Wicked, Beetlejuice, The Wild Robot, Twisters, and Alien Romulus. And I think based on this list, I gotta give it to Deadpool and Wolverine, because that movie crossed $1 billion and became the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. But even though I love the Twisters, and it had like great sound effects, especially with the tornadoes, and especially being a disaster movie, I love the Glenn Powell. And even with Alien Romulus, and that movie went back to the roots of the first and second movie, where it felt like a real horror and just like a real thriller, especially with the xenomorph involved. And I adore the heck out of that movie, and I adore it so much. And especially with Fede Alvarez was able to cook up, and Beetlejuice, and I really liked its follow-up sequel, but even though I did not enjoy it as much, but I pretty sure liked it. I liked Michael Keaton's performance back in the game, and also out of all these, I mean, I'm expecting Deadpool and Wolverine to win as well, because it was like it served as an event. It was like the next No Way Home and / Oppenheimer event to want to go into the theaters, and plus it did the most money. So I'm guarantee you, like, I hope Deadpool and Wolverine wins the race. But the next category is Best Supporting Actor, and those nominees are Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice, Yuria Barcelo, Anora, and Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown. And now I think on this list it is very clear here that Denzel Washington takes home the awards, because even though I liked Gladiator 2, despite its flaws, and I'm not thinking about it as much, but it like freaking ruled, especially with the arena sequences. And I think Ridley Scott did good on that film, what was he able to achieve as a filmmaker. But out of all the performances, I think Denzel Washington definitely deserves the best, because the guy is a legend. He's like an Oscar winner. He's like been in that season of like award season, like, but I think it's pretty clear that Denzel Washington takes home the awards, especially with his performance in Gladiator 2. So yeah, that does it for all of the nominations for the Golden Globes 2025. And I think with all these movies and TV shows being nominated for award season, and so especially with some films that have yet to come out but are already nominated early, and it shows a very clear sign. But and wait until we get to the nominations for the Oscars next year, and that's something that's going to be something to talk about and to look forward to have conversation. But with all the Golden Globes, and I'm pretty sure like with the animated films and the box office achievement and the best performances, especially from every actor and actress, I think it's only one shot that only one will win an award for Golden Globe, and we'll see when it comes. Like, I think in January 2025, I think it's the 7th, I believe. But yeah, but that's gonna do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments below, and what your thoughts on all these nominations for the Golden Globes, and what predictions do you have about who will win? Just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to notification bell for future videos. And also follow all my social medias over the link down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.